Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tawana Rivers. This is the 10K Project, and tonight we have another Bet on Black pitch where we bring to you a Black founder who is doing amazing work, and they're in the process of raising capital to fund their business. And we're super, super excited to have a return founder. It always makes me smile when someone decides to come back, right? That means we made an impact, right? We added
Exactly.
value to your journey. And so that always warms my heart when someone comes back to us. And so we want to welcome back to the 10K Project, Mr. Kelvin Harris with Forbes Farmhouse. If you guys remember, Kelvin was one of the first founders that we've highlighted on Secure Living, the Black-owned real estate portal. So excited to highlight another campaign from that portal. Super excited to hear about what you've been doing, Kelvin, in the last few months since you came to visit us. Your project is one of those that I think of all the time because I'm like, I can't wait to see it finished, right? The pictures were just so beautiful, and you guys will see the renderings and everything, and it's just like I can see myself in the window, that top window of the facility. Wait till you see the pictures. It's absolutely beautiful. Like I can see myself looking out and like somebody taking a picture of me looking out, and I want that picture. So it's like so wait till you guys see this. It's
We're
absolutely
gonna have a 10K project event at the venue for the
listen.
grand opening.
Don't threaten us with a good time. Don't do it. We know how to have fun. But I love that idea. So I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to share the campaign page first, and then we're going to jump right into this amazing presentation. How do I know it's going to be amazing? Because the first one was. That's how I know. All right. Let's share this screen. For those of you that are here in Zoom, as you know, we're going to be putting this link in the chat throughout the evening. For those of you watching us on Facebook, we will be doing the same in the comments, so you don't have to worry about not having it. So this is the Secure Living site, right? So in addition to supporting Kelvin this morning, I do want everyone to go to securelivingrei.com and register for an account. This is a Black-owned real estate focused portal. So please, please, please register. Kelvin's project is out here, Forbes Farmhouse Development. The funding target is $535,000.
And we just went live 2 days ago, or actually yesterday.
Very, very nice. Because when you came to us the first time,
we were in the test the waters phase.
The waters phase. So you really wanted to see, like, are people getting this, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like we got it.
Yeah. We got a lot of good support in the test the waters phase. So just hoping it carries over. Very,
very good. They are accepting live investments, right? This campaign is going to be out here for 151 days. There's a nice invest now button when you get to that point in your decision making. This is a debt opportunity, right? So the investment duration is 60 months with an ROI of 12%. The project type is mixed use. Kelvin will talk a lot about the project and the facility and some of the history when he takes over. The exit strategy is refinance. I love that you put that up front and just out there first, right? That's typically a question that's asked. And some founders answer it very determined and strategically, and some may not have yet thought about that. I love that you put it right here up front. The exit strategy is to refinance. And the start date of the project is just, like you said, live 2 days ago, but then we've got
officially today.
Officially
now,
today.
Tawana, if I could ask, maybe not play the video because we have a new video and I've incorporated some concepts some comments I got from the last video. So I think if those folks are on the call, they'll see some of their impact they've had on the design. So
I love everything about that. Yes. Okay. I'll just scroll through then. The campaign page has a lot of great information on it. So your job as a potential investor is to look through everything, right? play the videos, look at the documents, do all the things, right? So that you can do your due diligence to decide if this fits in your portfolio. So with that said, I am going to stop sharing and I am going to turn it over to you, Mr. Harris. You could share your screen if you'd like.
All right, I will do that. And I will also, let me just share this. Where's the share the sound? Let me, yeah. Well, hopefully they'll be able to hear. I know we had an issue with that last time, so I was going to try to.
Let's try it, see if we can hear it. If not, we can try something else.
Reaction. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tawana. You have impacted my life in many ways that you probably don't even realize. One, just introducing me to secure living and starting me on a path of this crowdfunding, particularly real estate crowdfunding, which I think, in addition to my project, which obviously I'm passionate about, that I'm going to talk to you about, I'll talk to the group about today. I have just become the real estate crowdfunding ambassador over the last 6 months, to the point where I'm working with other founders or potential founders to start other projects, because I just see this as the way for us to move forward in our community with regard to projects that are near and dear to us and actually will have a true economic impact on our community. So I don't want to take too much time. I want to get to the questions. So again, my name is Kelvin Harris. My company is Kelstar Consulting. I'm a financial, full service financial consulting, wealth strategist, and wealth advisory. But today I'm coming to you as a sponsor of the Forbes Farmhouse. I'll just say this up front. My degree, my actual degree from Howard University is in architecture. So, as they say, what's old is new again. So I had to kind of brush off my architectural skills and just combine that again with the finances. So I think it's making a great combination. So first, we're going to play the video because we did update it. We got a lot of great comments the last time I was here. So I want to show people that we are listening, we are taking heed, and then I will get into the project. So hopefully, when I click this, you'll be. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, this happened the last. It said recording. It's usually on this section, but I guess for the sake of time, we will just kind of press on. But the visuals, again, it's just some nice music, so I'll go ahead and continue. All right. So let's talk about the Forbes Farmhouse. well, I want to mention the last time I was here, someone made a comment about it. They saw it as a gated community. So I did as well. We just didn't have the gate in the last video, so we made sure we put that in there. All right. So I guess what initiated this whole process was a issue or a challenge that my family is having that has a historical context. Um, you know, I think it's been about 4 generations that my family has owned land just outside of Tallahassee, Florida, in a little town called Miccosukee, Florida. For those of you guys who know a little bit more about our history and the Seminole Wars and things like that, it was right there in the heart of it. One of the reasons why Florida State is called the Seminoles is because of that. But more specific to what's going on with the Farmhouse is that, there's been an epidemic, I would say, within the African American community starting in 1910. 1910 was the peak of African American land ownership in this country. And that date sticks out in my mind because my grandmother was born in 1900, so she was 10 years old. And I think at that time, or somewhere between that time when she got older, our family owned 300 acres right outside of Tallahassee, Florida, which is the capital. Now we're somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 40 to 60. But as you can see here, it says African American land ownerships have lost basically 90% of the 14 million acres owned by Blacks in 1910, either through loss or seizure. So that's one of the things that my family is going through, in that since we don't farm anymore, the land is just kind of sitting there and all we're doing is paying taxes on it. So the idea is, how do we turn this into some sort of a revenue generating property versus just paying taxes, and then eventually at some point in time wind up losing it to seizures or foreclosure. So again, our mission is, again, to transform this 5-acre lot into a vibrant, inclusive community and just make it a revenue generating sort of entity. The question is how to do that. So our vision to do that was to create what I consider to be a groundbreaking residential crowdfunding opportunity that involves was a custom build to rent. Now that's a lot. That's a term. If you're not in the real estate space, you'll start hearing that more. A lot of developments are building specifically to rent, whether it be through Airbnb or just rentals, regular standard rental contracts. So that's we're taking advantage of that trend, using a kind of a modern farm style type residence and to position ourselves in several lucrative markets. Our design concept came through a blend of, some Scandinavian styles, something called barn dominium, as well as a modern farmhouse, to kind of create what we think is a kind of an ideal situation for our particular site. Again, the location is Tallahassee, Florida. Again, I think when most people think about real estate development, you're probably not thinking of Northwest Florida, but I just wanted to show this slide to let folks know that city does have a economic, their economy is booming from an economic standpoint. At one point, it was the leading economic. That was kind of back in 18, so it may not be there as now, but it is a vibrant area. They recently turned their regional airport into an international airport. And Tallahassee also has the distinction of being one of the 150 best places to live in the U.S., as reported by the U.S. News and World Report. One of the things I added that I didn't have last time, since we're focusing on a kind of a rental market, and I'll go into the 4 sectors of that market, I came across this article where it basically said Airbnb outperforms the Leon County, generates 4 times the amount. So Leon County is the county that Tallahassee is within. And basically what this is saying, For those of you who may do Airbnb, a lot of the municipalities are charging a tax for these short-term rentals. They were anticipating a certain number, and what they received was 4 times that amount. So this kind of would lead one to believe that the market is pretty strong in that area for specifically Airbnb, but rentals of maybe all sorts. Tallahassee also has is known as kind of a sports town. There you see kind of Deion Sanders in the middle there back when he played for Florida State. But this is also going to play a big part in the type of events or the demographic that we are able to serve when you have 2 major institutions, Florida A&M, Florida State, and you're talking about graduations, homecoming, major college sports event. Those are all going to be opportunities for us to rent this space out for any number of things that we'll go into a little bit later. So as I explained the last time, the funds that we're raising are actually for what we're calling phase 1 of the project, which is essentially the site development, where we will need to, develop the lots, do some clearing, do some irrigation and retention ponds, and then put in a paved road. So those numbers are estimated to be somewhere around this 414. Now we do know inflation has an impact. So in addition to the inflation and some additional things we've decided we wanted to do, so other amenities that we haven't rendered yet, we shot for I guess there's a couple of levels when you go to crowdfunding. So we're at basically, I guess, level 2 for lack of a better term, and the max would be $535,000. So we'll be able to do this and some additional things to make sure, whether it be the marketing, furniture and fixtures and those sort of things, so we can really hit the ground running with this project. This again, just some shots of the area, just showing that it's very dense, very wooded, but we will be clearing that. Actually, the clearing has already started. So we'll give you guys some updates on that as the project continues. And then we're going to get into phase 2. Now, as before, phase 2, we've actually already been pre-approved for a construction to perm loan. So pretty much everything you're going to see from here on now, we have the funding in place for. We just got to get through phase 1 before we can get to phase 2, obviously. But again, one of the things that we're focusing on to make this a very viable endeavor, the landscape design, site amenities, the modern farmhouse style, which I'll get into, the multi-purpose interiors, and the energy efficiency in the building materials. Now, again, last time someone asked a very good question that I didn't expect, because being an architect, I thought we're the only ones who are kind of interested in the structures and the materials and things like that nature. But I got the question. So I added a couple slides just to highlight, the innovation of this is even going into the design. So we're going to be using something called structural insulated panels. Essentially, these are, just think of a structural sheet material. It's almost like the structural or the building equivalent to an ice cream sandwich, where you have the 2 ends and you have it in the middle. But because it's created in basically in the factory, and that the particle boards are adhered, it has a extremely high structural property and other efficiency. So for example, with the energy efficiency, it will reduce the cost up to 50% over projects or buildings that do not use structural insulated panels. And then as well, we can talk about the strength, but we're actually not going to be using it for the strength because we have a steel structure that we're going to be laying this on top of. But it assists with the fast and the shortening of our schedule. So we have a faster construction time. So as you can see over here to the right, the panels are literally cut in the factory. They're brought to the site and they're lifted up on a crane and assembled or basically put into place. So from we're looking to basically have the building envelope for this project constructed and completed in maybe a week or two between the structural insulated panels and the steel structure, which I'm going to go through before. So that's kind of unheard of. The fact that we're combining these two systems that basically involve themselves or allow themselves to be utilized for the speed of construction. All right, so the second one is basically a system called Miracle Truss. It's a combination of steel columns with a steel web truss. Again, it's assembled on the site, and with that same crane or something, you just, once your concrete is poured, you just lift it into place and you adhere it, and now you have your building structure, and that can, be done in a few days as well. The strengths, the flexibility that gives us in using steel, again, quick assembly, spans great distances, as well as it's great for wind resistance, high winds and wind loads. So we know in Florida, occasionally we get a hurricane here or there. So we want to be prepared for that. So that's another reason why we're using this building material or this structure. So now as we get into the farmhouse itself, we have our estimates of what's going to be to construct it. Here's one of the newer renderings showing a portion of the great room. This is basically where a lot of the activities are going to take place. Again, just some of the features are going to be, open concept, unique interiors, high-end furnishing, smart technology, indoor, outdoor spaces. We have those accordion doors leading from the great room out to the pool area and the outside areas. So again, ease of flow for outdoor activities like a wedding of some sort, and those sort of things. And then all within a very tranquil, natural environment. This is an area, there's not a lot of activity going on in this area. You have a few houses here and there. So I think it's a very good sort of design or concept when we're looking at things like corporate retreats and things of that nature, or just girls' weekend or whatever you want, whatever it may be, whatever may be called for. We will be able to accommodate a variety of different types of events and activities with this structure. All right, so here just again update you on some of the rendering. So here's a rendering of the master bedroom or primary bedroom, bathroom, walk-in closet. Again, a better shot of the great room. Again, basically 3-story volume, where most of the events will take place. Here is the game room, which is essentially can also serve as a bedroom, in a purely residential situation. But as we plan on using it, this will be the game room. And then again, my favorite space, that loft space, or also a theater room. I always wanted to have a theater room in my house, never had a chance to do it. So here's my opportunity. So again, just kind of a bird's eye view of the great room, and just to give folks an idea of the scale and the type of activities we can do, just show some different layouts. So here's a layout for, perhaps some training, corporate trainings, a networking event, something of that nature. As well, we can do, a dinner party, a small wedding reception. Again, the flexibility is there, and the space is there to accommodate many different types of events. Okay, and here again are the floor plans. So here's the first floor, it's the great room here, game room back here. Second floor, office area, going back to the primary bedroom. And then on the third floor, here's your loft area and theater room, kind of overlooking the bedroom. There is a partition there with a window, typically with the curtains. All right. Now, the other thing I wanted to do this time is dive a little bit deeper into these markets, because as looking at this from as a potential investment, you need to have a better understanding of what sort of markets we're tapping into. So the first market that we're going to talk about is the vacation rentals. Basically, what you're seeing here is that all four markets that I'm going to discuss are all on a upward trend. So the vacation rental, and that's thing, of course, Airbnb, Vrbo. Now, Airbnb is typically, a night or two. You see groups like Vrbo and also Airbnb also are leveraging or marketing for those maybe longer, a week, 5 days, 2 weeks. That's kind of the vacation rental market that we're going to look into. So we're more midterm to long-term rental versus the short-term rental. And there's actually some advantages to that, because a lot of the cities are having a pushback against Airbnb because of the short-term nature. So we're going to kind of stay away from the short-term side and focus more on the midterm rentals and the long-term rentals. Long-term rentals better characterized as corporate housing, where someone is going to be staying there for 5, 6, 7 months at a time. But if we just look at the vacation rental market and how it's looking to grow with a 3.9% CAGR, which stands from the compound annual growth rate. So essentially, this is the compounding effect. Year over year of the vacation rental is going to be 3.9%. So we want to tap into that. Event space, again, when we talk about being, in a college town, as well as just, folks' birthday parties, weddings, anniversary, what we see in the event space market, it's, a $55.8 billion market, and that's just US. But also what's interesting is that they're saying on average event spaces typically generate anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 a year. Now, I think once we open, we will be the premier space, event space in that area, pretty much in the region. But also for those of you who looked at our financial plan, we really were conservative. So all of the numbers that we're talking about is basically based off about a $75,000 a year profit margin, and that's with the rentals, the event space, the corporate events, and all that together. So we're looking at just from the event space alone on the low end to generate somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000. Again, corporate events. Now, corporate events are, so now we're not talking about the birthday parties and things like that, but we're talking about corporate retreats, corporate dinners, award dinners, holiday parties, galas, anything, that a corporation would do to build camaraderie within their organizations. And this number is growing at a much larger number than even the vacation rental. We're talking about 17.3% compounded annual growth rate. So this is 17% compounding year over, just like compound interest, this growth is compounding. So we're really excited about tapping into that corporate events. I think this is a great place for those corporate retreats and those sort of things. And then last but not least, we're looking at corporate housing. Now, the interesting thing about the corporate housing, we're not necessarily focusing on this this is kind of our fail safe. So a couple things happen with corporate housing. Obviously, if we have a client who wants to do something for several months, then we would look at that. And that's a lot of times what happens. But what's really interesting about the corporate housing is you can actually go to these groups, like, for example, Zeus, who I think was bought out by Airbnb. If your property is in a location in which they desire and they feel like they have potential clients for, they will pay you a month. They would basically pay you monthly for a minimum of 2 years. They don't want to do a contract less than 2 years, because I was working with them on another project, whether they have a client or not. So my honest perspective is that we're probably won't be using too much corporate housing, because I think the revenue that if we went strictly corporate housing, or we focused on corporate housing, we're going to lose more revenue on the event side, because event, that's just a one-time deal, and they're paying anywhere from $3,000 to $30,000 if you talk about weddings and things like that. So it's not going to be economically viable for us to tie up the property with one corporate rental, but we have it there. Should we want to go that route for whatever reason, that is also an option. So again, what they're saying with the corporate rentals, that is on track to double between 2020 and 2027. It's 2020 was 7 billion, looking to go, well, not quite double, up to about 12 billion by 2027. So again, we have four very viable, strong markets that we're looking to leverage to make this project an extremely successful endeavor from a financial standpoint. Just quickly looking at, let's say, our competition. Again, this is just Airbnb, just to kind of show people that what sort of revenue is being generated from properties that are not, I would say, not in the same categories of ours, just to be nice. So they're renting, somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 to 750 a night. So again, just on the rental side, let's say a vacation rental where someone's staying for 2-3 weeks at 750 a night, you see how quickly those numbers could generate. You throw in a couple of events or several events in there per month. So we're looking pretty good from a cash flow perspective. All right, so as I wrap up, as Tawana mentioned, we are offering a 12% preferred rate of return. This is not posted on the site, but this refi that we do in 60 months, or basically 5 years, so we're going to be paying a 12% for 5 years. We'll look to refi cash out. We're going to share 20% of the equity with our investors, along with your principal coming back to you at the end of those 60 months. So we're super, super excited about this. And, for those who decide to take this journey with us, again, we're excited as well. So here's my contact information. Tawana already showed you the site where we are, Secure Living. They have just been invaluable in this process. I told them, hey, you guys are going to have to walk me through this, and they did that. So anyone who's thinking about doing a real estate crowdfunding, I highly, highly recommend you work with Secure Living. They just made the process, is not often you do things involving the federal government where you could say the process was enjoyable. But this was one of those cases. So, so with that, Tawana, I will turn it back over to you. I guess, should I stop sharing my screen?
Yes, you can stop sharing so we can be bigger on the screen. Another wonderful presentation, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. This is another reason, right? Seeing this tonight, for anyone who's seeing Kelvin for the first time, this is the reason we say, don't sell Big Mama's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't sell the family land. And so if you remember, Kelvin started by saying, the family had over 300 acres. They now have about, between 40 and 60, right? And so that's a lot of land that the family lost. And when Kelvin came the first time, he said he had a family meeting. And he told the family, not another acre will we sell, right? We're going to do something with this and build wealth with it. And this is that. And so congratulations again to you and to your family for listening, right? For not doing that. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, that is a big deal. It doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah. But wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So if we don't learn anything else tonight, don't sell Big Mama's house. Don't sell the land. Reach out to Kelvin so he can consult and tell you how to make it make money for you and for generations to come. Right. So thank you very much for that. I love everything about this, right? From the sustainability products that you're using to the fact that you've been very mindful about the time constraints and making sure that you build this quick. You know, I'm sure many of the people, I can't be the only one that has walked by or driven by real estate development projects that feels like they've been happening for years, right?
Yeah, it's like it's
that
taking
building's
forever.
not finished yet, right? Hey, or that house is not finished yet. And I love that you have intentionally thought about that, right? And what that's going to mean from an investor standpoint, obviously, but then also for, you know, getting it up and running and being ready to make a difference in the community. So, you know, kudos to that as well. The other thing I love about this project is you have tackled very clearly 4 distinct industries, right? And so on that first slide, when I said Kelvin explained what mixed use is, right? He did indeed, right? So you've got, what was it? Vacation rental, mid and long-term, event space, corporate events, corporate housing. And what I noticed from your slides is each of those industries are multi-billion-dollar industries on their own.
And are all trending upwards.
And all trending upwards. I mean, this is a wonderful, wonderful time for Forbes Farmhouse, right? When I look at this and think about the presentation. So again, congratulations, right? We've got a couple of questions. Let's see. Miss Jackie says, I like this idea. Can you explain a little bit more about the structural insulated panels and the building strength? So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, you guys are in Florida, right? We often hear about bad weather in Florida. I'm not sure how it is in Tallahassee versus other areas, but we can talk about a little bit of that.
Okay, so that's interesting. Again, I love these questions. I get to play architect again. So the structural insulated panels, what's interesting about that, it's the combination of the materials. They've actually done studies that when you take the 2 sheathings and you have that insulated foam and you adhere it in a factory under the right conditions, it's comparable on its own to steel. Google SIPs and look at some of the videos where they have trucks driving over these panels. So these things are very, very, very sturdy. But in our case, I'm primarily using it for the energy efficiency. So, you know, most people may know it's like the way you lose heat or you keep heat in or out of your home is the air pockets. You know, when you do a stick built, dry, you know, the 2x4s, then you put the insulation in, but there's still a lot of space in there. You know, they try to, you know, we even have those things where we spray the foam on, but this basically comes assembled. So it shortens the process because the framer, you don't need a framer, you don't need an insulation person, you don't need a sheathing person. Let me get my terminology right. The panel comes in and you just tilt it up, adhere it to the system, and then you're ready to put your finish on, whether it be, you know, siding or whatever it is. So it's super, super important. And again, the steel side, we'll go into that. Just again, we want it now. Probably the structurally insulated panels could have sufficed if my design was different. But because I had that 3 volume space, we needed more integrity in terms of the torquing and that sort of stuff. So that's where the steel comes in, because essentially you basically have steel frames with 2 steel bands around the exterior. So it's almost like a steel box with the structural insulated panels laid on top of. So I just think it's a really great idea. I actually text the steel manufacturer today, and I said, I think I opened up a new market for you guys, because there's not a lot. And again, this just kind of, in my research, these things just kind of came together. I don't see a lot of people using it. They use it for barns and things like that. You see these barn or these curtain, like, you know, if you like an airplane curtain and things like that. all the time. So the structural integrity is there because, when's the last time you saw an airplane curtain that blew over? But now we're using it for residential. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, hey, that's not a bad idea. I might do that too. So I need to work out a referral contract with them. And
yes.
I definitely talked to them about it. I say, yeah, we're going to have to talk. Because once this thing go live, people are like, how did you do that? I'm like, I'm glad you asked. So hopefully I answered the question.
Very, very good. Gregory says, how would we calculate the 20% refi for an individual investor?
Okay, another great question. So let me walk you through it. So, because I already have some numbers. So right now we're looking at, who says structuring is a great idea for resident? It is. And they use it a lot in Florida too, but I'm just kind of taking it to the next level. So I think the I got the drawings appraised. So it's kind of like a pre-appraisal. So as seen, the house will probably appraise for somewhere in the neighborhood like 900 to 1 million dollars, just when we're done with the construction. So we're looking at in 5 years, we're probably, and let me get my calculator out so I can get these numbers right. So let's just say in 5 years, we're somewhere in the 1.5, 1.6 area. So that's 500,000 in equity. Now, so let's say we're at 1.5. Now, typically when you refinance, they're only going to give you about 80%, or let's say 90%, times 0.9. That's, well, we can even go with 80%. 115, 1.5 times 0.8 is 1,200. So again, let's say the appraisal was at 900,000. So we're talking about $300,000. So 20% of 300,000 is $60,000. So that's going to be shared among everyone. So if you were, let's just use some easy math. Let's say you invested $1,000. So if you invested $1,000, that means 500,000. Your 1,000 divided by 500,000 is 0.002 times 60,000. So that means you basically, your return on investment, or your percentage of the 20% equity would be $120. So essentially, it's that same 12% that you were getting the whole 5 years. So it's like we give you another 12% plus your profit back. Now, of course, if you do 10,000, then that's 1,200 and that sort of thing. So that's kind of to give you an idea. It's almost like an extra year of interest on the back end, on top of the 5 years you already got, plus your principal back.
Very good. Very good. Okay. The next question from Greg is, has the minimum investment changed from 500 to 400?
Yeah. So when I was here before, I was talking about 400 because someone recommended that number. I was speaking with the crowdfunding portal. I think we started off in the test the waters phase with 500. So we decided just to stick with that. I kind of just like you said, the 400, but just in terms of the categories that they had set up, 500 just made more sense. But hey, if anybody wants to do 400, we'll see what we can do. But right now, 500 is the minimum.
Yeah, and I think once the campaign is live, you've already filed your documents, then you can't change the amount.
Right.
But this is an opportunity, right? If 400 is the magic number for somebody, but you got a cousin or a best friend or a sibling that got that other 100, right? This is when we go in together and make it happen, right? That's what I recommend. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between the test the water campaign, and then now the live campaign, because I don't want people to be confused, right? So when you were here the first time, Test the Waters is a component of Reg CF investment crowdfunding, where founders get to come in front of an audience or put a campaign out there to see what the temperature is, right? So think about dipping your toe in the hot bath, right? You don't jump all the way in, you don't stick your whole leg in, you don't even stick your whole foot in. You just kind of dip your toe a little bit, right? And you test to see if the water's too hot. Conceptually, it's the same thing. You kind of put the feeler out there to see if people are going to embrace the project. And so for those of us who saw this and we liked what we saw, we actually reserved a spot, right? So we didn't invest back then. We reserved a spot and pretty much said, I'm interested. When this goes live, count me in, right? That's what Testing the Waters was at that point. And so now we're at that point where it is live. If we still like it, or if we're looking at this for the first time, then we would actually be investing. So I don't want people to be confused thinking, wait a minute, I clicked the button before. I'm already in this deal, right?
Right.
Exactly. I don't want somebody to say, I'm already invested in this. You're actually not. You just click the button saying that you liked it. And when it goes live, you want to be. And so now what Calvin is hoping for, right, is that you still like what you heard, right? And now you're interested in actually clicking the button to invest.
And Tawana, if I could ask your indulgence so I could share my screen again, because you brought up a point that I wanted to touch on. You know, sometimes when you're on the outside looking in, it's hard to, you know, as an investor, you do your test awards and that sort of stuff, and you really don't get that much feedback. So I wanted to be able to start giving people feedback, you know, obviously when we start actually doing the raise, but I wanted to show them. So I'm going to share my screen because I actually have the last printout that we did of the test awarders phase. So it basically says where we ended was because obviously there's a range here. And again, I just wanted to do a couple things, show this, but also thank 10K Project, because I would have to say 90% of this came from y'all.
That's what's up.
You know, I got a few cousins with a little money, but most of this came from y'all. Now, this ain't real money yet. We got to turn that into real.
We got to turn that into real money, right?
Because, like I say, from here, from 500 to 2,500. So, you know, we're more so on the low end, we were at 156, but on the high end, we were at 325. So I'm just super, super excited about this whole process. I did want to show this to people to just let them know, hey, we as sponsors, we appreciate the fact that you guys participate, because it lets us know, you know, hey, this ideal might not be too bad. People actually like what I'm doing, and that allows us to kind of continue to do the due diligence and do the work to kind of bring this to fruition, knowing that, hey, I have some support from my community. So I just wanted to share that.
No, I love that you shared that. I love that you shared this for so many reasons. For one, congratulations to the 10K Project investors, right? For actively embracing this opportunity to invest in these deals, right? Oftentimes we don't know how much engagement there is on a campaign because of just the way, you know, the portals keep their information secure, and I keep mine secure, and right. And times you don't get to see behind the curtain. So thank you very much for sharing that. The other thing that I think is really, really great is, and I'm sure you guys are doing that. So for the people who committed, right, who said they were interested, you know who those people are. I'm sure they're going to get special communication.
Yep. I think an email went out yesterday, I believe it was, basically letting them know, hey, we are live. But again, when you're disconnected, that's why I wanted to come back, because it's like, okay, they're live. So, you know, but I haven't heard anything. Nobody's updated me. I'm just going to send $500 into this thing and nobody's talking to me. Oh no, we're going to talk to you.
Very, very good. Jackie said I got the email. So Jackie got hers.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Very, very good. I love that. Miss Vivian has a couple of questions, so we'll leave this one sitting up here for a minute. So how many bedrooms? How many people total will it hold? What are the amenities, including housekeeper, washer, dryer, chef, etc.? So let's just talk about the first two: occupancy, capacity, and then how many bedrooms?
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. The theater room that I showed as a theater room is a bonus room that could also be a bedroom. And then also, depending on the setup, where you saw kind of the office area that's kind of out under the atrium, that could be beds in a situation if you wanted to have like kids doing a sleepover or something like that. So I think I ran the number. It's somewhere in the neighborhood. I think maybe like 18 to 20 people. It could accommodate extremely comfortable. Probably a little bit more if we really got like bunk beds and things like that. But again, somewhere between 18 to 20. So we're looking at 2 or 3 families, a family reunion, a homecoming. You call some of your friends, hey, let's all stay at the farmhouse. That's the situation we're looking at. Now, what was the question about the amenities?
What are the amenities? So do you have housekeeping, chef, washer, dryer? Like, what are some of the cool
We
amenities?
have washer, dryer. So and we're going to have the housekeeping. That's pretty much part and parcel to that. The Airbnb type, we'll hire someone local. We'll have that managed. When we talk about the chefs, that would be on a case-by-case basis, because I've actually thought about this. So depending on the renter, so let's say we decided to do a corporate rental. Let's say there was some celebrity who decided they wanted to stay there because they're doing something in Tallahassee. And if they requested that, or if they wanted that as part of we're going to be working with local businesses to facilitate that. I have cousins who have decorating businesses and things like that. You come in with the balloons and the whole layout for different sort of galas. So we'll leave that open to what the user needs. Now, again, when we talk about the event space, the catering and all that stuff is active because we basically have a residential kitchen. It's not a commercial kitchen, but we have the area and the space for it to be easily catered. You may have saw that one slide where we had a curtain in front of the kitchen, so you could have caterers out there. You could have the food either in the trucks and bring it in. So we're making it extremely flexible so we can kind of address the needs of a variety of different sort of clients.
I love that. And I love the idea of having those ancillary services kind of as part of the package as an add-on even, right? Where you split have some kind of revenue share with that vendor. Because to Ms. Vivian's question, I think even, I know you said celebrities, but even I like a chef when I'm on vacation, right? You like somebody to cut, it's vacation, right? You don't want to cook. That's the whole point of getting away. I could stay home if we're going to just do the same things we do at home. And so sometimes people want to splurge on things like that, and to be able to have that option is going to be really, really good. The other thing I was thinking of is, because the space is mixed use, I was thinking of the furnishings, right? And this came up just recently. I've been looking at a piece of property to go on a little family getaway to Puerto Rico. And I've been looking at houses, right, on all the different sites. And I don't like the rooms that have the bunk beds in it, right? I'm looking for like 5 ensuite master rooms. I want them to all be the same level of luxury and elegance. The bunk bed for me changes things. But what I thought about when I was looking at those things, I was like, I wonder if they could switch that out, like for this week, right? I wonder if they could, if they have hotel, how they have the furniture rental places, right?
Exactly, yeah.
If they could just switch that out, because I don't want the bunk beds. I actually just want a regular bed. And I actually was going to call a couple of places and ask that question. And all they can say is yes or no, right? I didn't think it was a question. But what do you think about something like that? Because you are using it for so many different categories, right? Does the corporate entity, right, the corporate person, want rooms with bunk beds in it. Is there an option to kind of restage?
Absolutely, absolutely. So remember when we talked about when I was initially here, that raise was I think 415,000, and now we upped it. So to the extent we can get closer to the 535, that's when we can start to do that, like have additional furniture either on site, or maybe put an actual barn there where we store, whether it's chairs for the event, tables, that sort of stuff. Now, again, initially, a lot of the stuff we probably want to, you have cater and use other businesses. But like you say, if we begin to see that our clientele are more, hey, our vacation rental or our corporate rental folks, again, they're looking for this type of facility, or they're looking for these type of accommodations, then we can accommodate them to the point where we can make that part of the overall offering. So we want to have those additional funds to be able to respond in kind for those sort of requests within reason, but really kind of doing that until we kind of get our legs and really see what our sweet spot is. I personally, the more I do this, and I talked with a couple of colleagues of mine, I don't know how much vacation rentals we're really going to need to do when I look at the event space and just the occasional corporate retreat. That in of itself will be lucrative. So not that we're not going to do that, but again, that's why I wanted to have those 4 distinct sectors. So now we have options. But in terms of generating revenue, we have a lot of sources to generate revenue, and we're not pigeonholed where we're like, hey, we just got to do Airbnb. I'm really not even concerned about Airbnb, because we could do 2 or 3 birthday parties a day.
Yeah. And I can tell you, based on the no shade to the other event spaces, right? I say this respectfully, but they don't compare to the rendering.
There you go.
And they
there you go.
Do not compare. They are cute, right?
Right. Yeah. So I just imagine, every month having 4 or 5 little kids' birthday parties, a couple of bridal showers, a couple of baby showers, and 1 or 2, galas for, some get together for some families. We're so booked because now I don't want a rental to interrupt that. I got, and we're getting this on a nightly basis versus, so I think that becomes like the fail safe, or like the off season time, where we can utilize that. So I'm very excited about where this is going, because we have a lot of very good options, and I think we're in a very positive space.
Yeah, for you, you're right. For this to be in the mid or long-term rental space, this booking, because of the revenue that it could generate outside of that system, this booking would almost have to be $2,000 a night, right? In order to offset
to make up or compensate for exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So and you could have a corporate client that says, I want to be here. I want my people here. I want my CEO here. And they may be willing to pay, astronomical amounts, but they're going to have to, because the revenue potential is so great in the other markets.
Absolutely.
Very, very good. Ms. Jackie says, are you planning on building or being part of the retirement community in the future? Ms. Jackie, tell me what you're thinking about with that.
That's an interesting question. I think I know what she's saying, and I'm like, I have this face because I'm like, did she read my mind, or was she on the other call where we mentioned something? But I'm gonna wait for her to clarify her question.
She was definitely on the other call when we talked. So did you mention something there? Because I don't remember retirement.
Okay, so I will say this as Jackie, I guess, clarifies her question. I may have mentioned this. I'm not sure if I did. I think I did. Because I think one of the questions was, hey, you have 5 acres in the subdivision. This is just acre number 1. What is phase 2 going to be? So my next crowdfunding We got to work out some things with the city because they're still trying to block me, but it's not going to happen, especially when I got the 10K behind me.
That part.
We are looking to do an assisted living facility on the other end of the street. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because again, we don't have to go into that. That's just needed in our community. Again, something that we determine our community needs, and now we can do it. We don't have to ask anybody. We don't have to beg anybody. It's the whole self-determined economic. If we feel like we need it, now we have a way to make it happen.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we have got an amazing contact for you when you're ready for that. A woman who actually facilitates those kind of projects and helps you make sure you have all of your licensing and all of that stuff too. If you're gonna run the facility in addition to providing the real estate for it. So we've got a connection for you. That's wonderful. Ms. Jackie says, I love retirement opportunities. Well, sounds like Miss Jackie, we're about to get one. So that's wonderful. Very nice. Ms. Vivian said, please, Calvin, while you're clearing the land, see how you can make use of the valuable resources on the land. For example, wood, herbs, the type of trees, etc. She says, do not get rid of anything until you determine its use.
Yes, I appreciate that comment. And that's one of the first things we did, because when I was first trying to figure out how to make this thing work, we hadn't heard about crowdfunding. We didn't hear about the 10K. We hadn't heard about secure living. So, I was looking at, well, maybe we could take the timber. I actually had a tree analysis done, and the type of timber that we have on that site is really not the type that is going to be marketable or we can really utilize. So I've had a few people look at it. I didn't necessarily trust the first person who told me that. I had to hear that from a few people. But we are looking at what we can do, the underbrush, the shrubs, the things like that. Florida is definitely an environmentally conscious state. It kind of gets on your nerves a little bit because of the stuff but we get it, the retention, the irrigation system that I have to put in, those sort of things, because they're flooding, can be floods and stuff, because the soil is clay. So the water doesn't seep down. So even when you saw the video, you saw that front area where it looks like a lake. That's actually a retention pond that they're making me build. So I'm like, well, we're going to turn it into a feature. If you're going to make me do it, it's a lake to us. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness, very good. Talisha, do we have any questions in Facebook?
Not at this time.
Very good. Any additional questions here in Zoom for Calvin? As you guys are thinking of your final questions, I will say my final words, and then we'll pass it over to Calvin to say his. First of all, thank you again, sir, for coming back to visit us. I love that you received such a wonderful response that it caused you to say, you know what, let's come back to 10K and make this official. So thank you so very much. And thank you again to Secure Living as well. I think they're an amazing company, an amazing portal, Black owned. So again, in addition to tonight, considering investing in Calvin's project, when you go to Secure Living, go ahead and register, right? So that you can get updates on this opportunity, as well as some of the others that they will be having. Anytime I hear someone talk about a real estate deal, I'm shooting them a note saying, check out Secure Living, right? And so, and making those introductions, because I think what they're doing is absolutely wonderful. For the investors here this evening, I always tell you the same thing. You're not going to hear anything different tonight. Do your due diligence, right? That's the first thing, first and foremost. The other thing is, please share, and share again this campaign link, right? In addition to those of us who are interested in this opportunity after hearing about it a second time, we want to tell our family, our friends, our loved ones, right? Anybody we can talk to, we want to tell them about this opportunity. And so please share this campaign link so that we can help Kelvin and his family meet their goals so that they can finish building and start making an impact in the community and making some money, right? I mean, that's what this is about, right? All right.
Hey, I'm not a financial advisor for no reason. It's, you know, the money got to be there.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But thank you all, right, for joining us and for continuing to rock with the 10K project and, you know, and for supporting what I know are amazing founders that we're bringing to you guys. And so thank you for embracing that and staying engaged, you know, now almost 4 years in. Kelvin, again, thank you, brother, for having the wherewithal to say to your family, stop it. We're going to stop. Not one more acre will we sell. We will develop these acres and not sell them. And I'm so excited about what that's going to mean for your community, right? In addition to for your family. And so congratulations to the entire Harris clan, right?
Mm-hmm.
For listening to you, because this is wonderful. Sounds like this is the first project of many. And it's going
you gotta say the Forbes clan. The Forbes clan. That's the Harris is my father's side Forbes.
Okay.
So that my cousin's gonna get mad at me.
Okay, cousins, don't get mad. Don't get mad, cousins.
We don't say the Forbes clan.
The Forbes clan. Got you. And what a good name too, right? That name is just money filled, right?
Right. Yeah.
So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Give us your final statements. You know, what I'd love for you to incorporate also is, you know, why was coming to the 10K project important, even the first time, right? And just kind of share your final words to the potential investors on why you need their help.
Okay. And before I do that, is it okay for me to put my contact information in the chat? Okay, just because again, you know, I'm transparent, full disclosure.
Say it out loud, just so the people watching the recording, they can hear it as well. Because I put my Calendly in when there. It was time to consult with you about their own land. They need to be able to know how to reach you.
And I want to touch on a little bit about, because I've actually had a conversation about that with Chris and Vantina at Secure Living. Like I said, I am the self-proclaimed real estate crowdfunding ambassador. I'm just so super excited about the process, even beyond my project, which I'm really excited about. I see the vision for the community. This is a way for us to do, you know, probably what we should have been doing all along, but for different reasons. You know, we know our community, we have a certain pathology, not that has been put upon us, not that we created necessarily, but it's now our job to get out of that. So thank you for the opportunity, but my information is there. Call me, you have any questions, you have a problem going on the site and trying to figure out how to make a contribution, call me and we'll get that taken care of. But I would just like to say, thank you, Tawana and your team and the 10K project. I can literally say, without you, this would not have been possible. Because until I joined the 10K project, I didn't know what crowdfunding was. So it was, and I always say, you know, you're put in the right place at the right time. God puts you people in your space. The first 10K event I went to was Secure Living. Can you imagine that? And I've been off to the races since then. So again, thank everyone for their support. I'm just very passionate about the idea of self-determination, where we have an opportunity where we're no longer beholding to the powers that be, the venture capitalists, the private equity funds, to tell us what is good in our community. No. We get to say what's good. So again, I'm looking for the 10K project support. If you think the Forbes Farmhouse, I can't even say the word, is a project that you would like to see, no one can tell us we can't do it. If we want to do a grocery store or a Whole Foods type store in in Flint, Michigan, because there's a food desert, no one can tell us we can't do it. We just have to decide, you know what? I think this is what we need to do. So more than anything, that's what has me super excited that we're at a point in time in history where we truly can determine the outcome. We can truly impact our situation. We don't have to talk to anyone. Again, you look at my project, I need $500,000. So technically all I need is 1,000 people to give me $500. So hopefully there's 1,000 people out there who want to do at least $500. And now the next project is just as simple. The next project we do is, again, that same 1,000 people can give another $500. Now so we could go on and on funding projects that are important to us just because we determine or we decide it's important to us to have this, and we're going to have it. So thank you again.
That's a 10K project infomercial, right? That's it. That's the concept, right? I mean, we say 10,000 people do 100, but you could say 5. You know, you could say 1,000 people do 5. You could say you can cut that $1 million, $500,000, $300,000, however you want. The point is, we don't need anybody else. We can do it, right? We've got the community with the idea. We've got the community with the capital, right? And together we can do it.
Creativity has never been our problem. Creativity has never been our problem.
Ever, right? We got the lock on creativity, right?
Oh,
we got
absolutely.
people stealing it from us left and right. So we got that, right?
Talk about it.
And even having the capital is not our problem. The problem is knowing what to spend our money on, right? Because we have money, right? We just don't always spend it on the right thing, right? So we have to be mindful of that, right? And that's why we're trying to teach the community how to get disposable income so that they can invest more, right? That's just the whole life cycle of this thing, because we can do it. There's no excuses. It really isn't. And so I love that founders like you are now learning about investment crowdfunding so that the everyday investor can have an opportunity. Because that's the other thing is, right? These opportunities have never come to us before.
They've never come our way. Yep. They've never come our way. And again, even the creative ones in our community, they have to go outside and have someone else bless it, which a lot of times winds up them taking the concept or marginalizing it or something. The days are over for all of that. So the crowdfunding, I was talking to some of my partners. I said, at this point, I'm hard pressed to do a real estate deal without crowdfunding. It just doesn't make sense for me not to do it without crowdfunding.
Right.
So yeah, I'm super excited. And again, thanks 1,000 times to the 10K project and what you do, because I'm a result of what it is. So, somewhere in that farm, it's going to be a 10K project plaque somewhere in there. I don't know where it is. I'm going to let you point. I'm going to let you say where you want it to be.
I love it. I love it. I take it. I will take it. And to anyone that considers investing in this project, I'm going to tell you the warm feeling that you're going to get when he breaks ground, right? I've invested, we invested in a property in Morocco, Black-owned retreat, and she's breaking ground this week and clearing the trees. And today she posted a video of clearing the trees, and I cried like a little baby, right? And I'm one investor, right? I'm one investor, but there is this sense of pride. I'm happy for her, right? Because that capital raise journey is a bear, right? And so I'm happy for her. I'm happy for everybody that took the opportunity. I'm happy for myself, obviously, because I think it's a good opportunity. But there's such pride. And it's the same pride I felt when I walked past a product on a Walmart shelf that I had invested in.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was like, oh, because they weren't on the shelf when I invested. And it was just like, it's like, oh, That's what
Yeah.
our project.
It's like it works. This
You
actually
just,
works.
we're making an impact. And I think that's the point I want to make for all of the 10K project members and anyone else out there that sees this. We are making this thing works, right?
It does.
The only thing that can make it better is if more of us get on board, because the model works. The model is not broken. Our mindsets are not always there, but the model works. And so I just wanted to share that. You know, sometimes coming off that money, sometimes it's kind of like, oh, but I need it right now. Or, oh, I could do something right now with it that could have a faster turnaround, right? But I'm telling you, the feeling and the accomplishment, and when the dividend check come in, that ain't bad either.
Right.
It's just all part of the process. So just again, thank you.
Now, could I say one more thing? I know, you know, because like I said, I changed it to ambassador, but at first I was saying I was the crowdfunding evangelist. So I got ministers on both sides of my family. I'm not dressing this way because I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna try to keep it so the 10K project, you guys are doing a great job. But I'm sure there are people on here that are part of other organizations. 100 Black Men, 100 Black Women, AKA Delta, all these large African-American organizations that are already a group. My mind, sometimes I can't sleep at night. I'm just telling you. It's like, what if each group, every African-American organization with more than 2,000 members, which is a lot, all said, we're going to do one crowdfunding project a year.
Together even. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can do theirs because you're in your community. I don't know what you need in your community. You there. So, you know, whatever group for, there was this group, I can't remember, Black Achievers Network or something like that. And they have chapters all over. Yeah. So, you know, the Atlanta chapter, y'all do a project. The New York chapter, y'all do a project. Just from within your own group, everybody, hey, like that same $100 you're talking about, we could literally, this is a game changer. Yeah. This is a game changer because now we're really talking about self-determination. So what was my point? I'm glad you're a member of 10K, but I'm sure you're a member of other organizations. Help me be the ambassador for this crowdfunding. Talk to your other organizations about, hey, we need to look into this crowdfunding thing. I saw this crazy dude, Kelvin Harris, on this video, and he kind of started convincing me of some stuff. And yeah, I just want to see this take off like wildfire. And I'm really excited.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, sir. Congratulations in advance. You know, keep us up to speed on updates because this is absolutely amazing. What you're doing. And I love also how your past came into play here, but being an architect and just all of it. And like you said, your first pitch here at the 10K project was secure living. You know, some things are no-brainers. They're just meant to be. And this feels like that was one of those things for you. And so I'm glad all of the pieces are falling into place for you.
And we know when things fall together like that, that's not out of our control. That's not our doing. That's a divine situation. So because literally the things just fell into place and I'm like, wow, this is very interesting. So, but like I said, I'm not going to preach tonight. We're going to leave that alone.
Okay. Well, I'm going to preach. Share. Right? I'm going to say it. Just keep sharing the heck out of this link, everybody. I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Peace and blessings. For those of you who don't get to catch this live, you'll have it in your inbox in a few minutes. It's out there streaming in Facebook. So if you couldn't catch all of it, you'll catch that there too. If you need to catch part of it, for those of you who are here in Zoom and you want to catch up because you came a little late, just go right in the Facebook group and you can watch it again and again and again. And again, we'll have the link everywhere so that you can click that and invest once you do your due diligence. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Calvin, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.